brother. Ben ask and you shall receive. Today I'm going to show you how to carve your face into a pumpkin. Step number 1, take a picture of yourself. Step number 1, take a picture of yourself. I took this one of myself earlier. Oh, hello there, handsome. For the picture, I would suggest taking it at a little bit of an angle, kind of coming in on your cheekbone. That'll create some shadows on your face and some bright spots, which will later become the pumpkin and what you carve out of the pumpkin. And you might have to experiment with it a little bit. I took like 5 or 6 before I found one I was really happy with. Next, we go to Photoshop, but it's okay if you don't have Photoshop, because I'll talk about that in a second too. Once you have your photo open in Photoshop, just push Control-Shift-U, and that'll switch your photo to grayscale. Then push Control-L, this will open up your levels, and adjust the 3 boxes to 148, 1.91 and 185, and you can make some adjustments there yourself. Next, we're going to adjust the threshold to get rid of the remaining gray. You just go to Image, then Adjustments, then Threshold, and I would set it to somewhere around 162. Next, just whip out the paintbrush and start smoothing things out. Get rid of all the erroneous white spots and make sure all of the black areas are connected. If they're not, then your pumpkin's not connected and it will fall apart. So when everything was said and done, this is what my stencil looks like. If you don't have Photoshop, that's okay. Most photo editing software will let you turn stuff into black and white and adjust the contrast, and that's really what we're doing. Adjust the contrast as high as possible so you get those really white whites and really dark darks, and save the picture like that. And if you want to paintbrush stuff in like I did, you can probably just do that in like Microsoft Paint if you really had to, which would suck, but it's, you know, doable. But now onto the pumpkin. If you've ever carved a pumpkin before, you probably don't need my help on this part, but I'll go ahead and walk you through my process anyway. First thing is, what do you use? I actually just use one of these dumb little kits you get like at the grocery store. It's like $5 and it does make things way easier. There's no need to get out the big knives or anything. They actually work really well as long as you do what it says on the box. Second, I always keep 2 bowls out there, one for seeds, one for glop. As for the image itself, I just cut it out and then scotch tape it onto the front. And I cut it out so that you can get a little bit flatter edge on it. It's harder when it's all crinkled and stuff. And my last tip is, when you're cutting the top off of the pumpkin, cut a little wedge on it somewhere just so you know how the stem goes back on the pumpkin. And now for the fun part, Ben, the glopping. This is where you just take all the guts out of the pumpkin. Yeah, this is gonna be a good one. When you're done glopping, it should look something like this. You just want to get all the seeds out and you don't want anything hanging down because, you know, it might get in the way of your carving and, you know, it might catch on fire later when you have a candle in there. Now for the actual carving. To start, I always start with whatever tool they give you that looks kind of like this, kind of like a toothpick or something. All you have to do is poke holes around the white outline all over the place, and that gives you like a connect the dots thing for when you actually start cutting. I think a lot of people want to skip this step and get right into it, but this makes it a lot easier and a lot smoother and a lot cleaner. It's kind of hard to see, but you just connect the dots. I just use little knives that look like this for this part. It takes a little while, but it comes out good. And if I had any recommendations, it would be to do the small parts first, like the little eye holes or something like this, because you have to imagine the whole pumpkin happening, and if you do these last, then just this tiny thin black part's gonna be holding them up, and it might collapse, and that would just make me crazy. And there we go. It looks just like me. Then my challenge for you or anyone else watching is just to carve your face into a pumpkin, or just carve a pumpkin at all. It's so much fun. Post it on our Facebook page. I would love to see it. And I will see you in another life, brother.